Hello everyone, welcome back to Nascent Toy Collector. Adam here, and today is TMN Tuesday, one of my very favorite days of the week because turtles are badass and I absolutely love them. Now, I have something really special for you before I jump into my NECA 2-pack Rat King and Vernon. I have picked up a set of 4 turtles that are Filipino bootlegs, and these guys are really cool. Let's check them out. And there they are. In their single color glory, all of it. They are not big figures at all. They're actually quite small, coming in at 1 inch and like 3/4 there. But there's just something really endearing and special about, number 1, bootlegs, and number 2, anything bootleg turtles. I love them. I cannot help it. I think there's such a cool level of crappiness about them. They are actually kind of highly detailed though. I mean, when you really look at it, for a, single piece of unarticulated plastic, they really do look kind of cool. I mean, there's like almost a wash to it. You can see that, especially with Donnie here. Donnie holding his pull cue like it's a guitar. I don't know what's happening with that. It is interesting that none of them have their little, the letter that indicates which turtle they are. So I'm just going basically on their weapons here. Donatello, Raph without a sight, and look at that, I still managed to knock him over. Even though he's got a huge thing to stand on, I still managed to knock it over. Raph has got no size, which I find interesting. He has that little knife thing that they always have with the vintage toys. That's kind of cool. Man, I don't know. There's just something really special about it. Mikey is purple, which is another interesting choice. I think the color choices are altogether interesting. Like, why on earth are they, like, why is Mikey not orange? That would make a lot of sense. Donnie could have been purple, would make a lot of sense. I do like that this nunchuck looks a lot like a hot dog. I do not want it to come apart there. As you can see, it's kind of weak. But man, I don't know. There's something just really fun about these guys. And I really, really am excited to add them to my collection. Leo's got a star and a chewed-on sword. And man, I don't know. There's something going on with his head there. It doesn't look so hot. But yeah, still really cool though. I really dig it. And I would love to pick up some Turley Gang. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Turley Gang. They apparently are from the Netherlands. They're from somewhere in Europe, the Turley Gang. And they're like a mashup of Motu and TMNT. So yeah, really would love to get me some of them guys. So there they are, my knockoff Filipino turtles. I hope you're enjoying that as much as I am. Let's move on to Rat King and Vernon. Hooey, there it is. Isn't this thing beautiful? I love the packaging. It reminds me of the party wagon. You've got the green turtle shell, you've got the yellow here. These packages are awesome. If you guys have caught my Krang review, the animated Krang from NECA review, you guys know that I don't know which turtles line to collect. You've got Super 7's Ultimates, and you've got these, and the Ultimates are more based on the action figures, and these are based on the cartoon. Well, I'm just gonna do both because damn it, I seen this Rat King. I love the Rat King. I've bought a Tales of the TMNT number 4, his first appearance, because I love him so much. And Vernon, I mean, he's one of those characters that I absolutely love to hate. He's one of the best things about the cartoon series. And fuck, what do you do when faced with this much awesome? What a wonderful time to be into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All right, let's just get into these figures, I should say. This package, wow, awesome. We have the incredibly animated look to the characters on the box. I love it. Turn it to the side. You get actual photos of the action figure contained inside. There's the Rat King. There's Vernon. Man, he's such a dick. Turn it around on the back. What incredible packaging. You get a cross sell, which I absolutely love, a cross sell on some action figures. And man, this thing is just sweet. Here's some of the legal mumbo jumbo. This is a 2020 figure, which, I've already mentioned that I'm kind of behind on picking these up, which is sometimes can suck because they're kind of expensive on the secondary market. But hey, that's just part of collecting. And like I said, I had to have this one because of Rat King. So let's get into it. Let's get this thing out of here. Open this box up. Yeah, there they come. Oh, check it out. Behind them, you got the sewer. Looks like straight out of the cartoon. You got the sewer back there. That looks really neat. It actually gives the illusion of depth. to the box. That's a really cool looking, that could be a piece of a diorama if you're good at that kind of stuff. But let's check these guys out. Oh man, look at all the accessories. Right off the bat, Vernon's Channel 6 camera is just looking awesome. Man, the Rat King, love this guy. He's got his bandolier here for his Coke can bombs. We've got the flute that he played where he could control Splinter. You know, in the animated series, at first, he was a lot like the Pied Piper, leading rats through the streets. You also have the can of mutagen here that is like a crazy can of mutagen that he mutates. He later mutates Irma, I believe it's Irma and Vernon, into the rats of Channel 6, or the Weir Rats of Channel 6 is what people call them in the show. It's pretty badass. I also see we've got quite a few rats here that pose along on top of Mr. Rat King. So I'm going to have some fun getting them out of these little rubber bandy things and getting all this stuff kind of set up so we can go over it. Man, there's a lot to unpack here. Might as well get started sooner rather than later. I cut more of these things than I ever care to see again in my life. My God, I guess because these things are Target exclusives, that Target, they must deal with a lot of theft because, man, they have got them strapped in. Oh well. Let's take a look at Vernon. I had to put Rat King aside because I'm just too excited. But man, look at this guy. He looks fantastic. I think this could double as a Seinfeld action figure. If you just didn't know any better, I think you could confuse Vern with Seinfeld. He's got the mullet. He's got a dress shirt tucked into blue jeans with his belt showing there and the big white tennis shoes. I mean, does it get any more business casual for the late 80s, early 90s? I don't think it does. Anyway, man, the paint application on this thing is amazing, you guys. I love these NECA figures. They really, really, really do a good job of making them look animated with the line tracing. You can see that all over the figure. Kind of makes it just, you know, pop like it's drawn. And that's hard to do with an action figure. So I have to commend them on their paint applications because they look freaking awesome. I do love how on the back, he's darker color than he is on the front. He's got the dark pink and the light pink, and it's harder to see on the jeans, but it is brighter blue than it is on the back there. The back is a darker blue. Just really cool overall. I really like it. There's so many details here, and you know, Vern is such a douche. Vern's such a douche that, well, he kind of grows on me. I don't know. I can't help it. There's something about him. I mean, he's April's cameraman, right? And always kind of in like competition with April, although April 110 times cooler than Vernon. This is about, Vernon, and this is about Rat King. So let's take a look at his accessories. He came with an open hand for the left and for the right. As you can see there, those are really cool. I'll swap those in just a second. He also came with a pointing hand, which is very Vernon-esque, I would say, to be pointing, telling someone what to do. That's kind of his thing, right? But something kind of funny, because he also comes with a camera, okay? Comes with the News Channel 6 camera, which, really nice looking piece of plastic there. Here's the thing. If you have Vernon set up with his camera, and he's looking through the eyepiece, right? Because that's like the viewfinder there, okay? Well, you could only put this hand, this pointing hand, only goes in the right side there. So you'd have to put the camera, so for him to be pointing, you have to put the camera on the left and him pointing on the right, and then the camera no longer makes sense. Isn't that something? I don't know if that's just oversight on their part. They usually don't make mistakes like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting that the camera really can't be used with the other hands. I mean, I guess you could put the open hand in, you know, over here if that's what you wanted to do. But whatever, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to quickly go over his articulation. His head is really nice. The neck joint is way down in there, which I'll show you in just a second. So his head swivels on the top and the neck moves at the base. So that's kind of interesting. It's not something I'm used to seeing. Of course, the arms, they move all the way around. 360-degree movement there. It is kind of a hinged deal. As you can see there, the hinge. He does have a joint here and here, so it's kind of the three-part elbow. I mean, it really is, you know, kind of, it looks different than most of them I'm used to seeing, but it still looks pretty cool. The sleeve swivel here, that's kind of cool. He also has a forearm swivel. And then he has the wrist, complete 360-degree wrist and hinges, and they are maybe the most hinged I've ever seen. I mean, look at this range of movement there. Really impressive. I like what you guys are doing, NECA. You guys are doing great. He does turn at the waist. He doesn't really have... I would say there's probably a ball there, but it's not as pronounced as some of the others. Now look at this. This is interesting. His shirt is not set up to where he can't move there. So that's really neat. Like you can see, his shirt's kind of like a soft good. Kind of interesting. It feels stretchy. Anyway, hips, got all kind of movement there in the hips. The pants kind of flex so that he can move forward and back and all that. He has really nice knees. The knees are really nicely done, and his ankles are really nice as well. He's a very posable figure. I like the way he looks. I love the watch. Like, what a nice detail that is, right? It's really cool. Let's stand him up here. Let's get him to stand up. Let's see, Vernon, get over here and stand up, buddy. Yeah, man, so cool. I like that. And let's look at the rat features. Now, he does come with a rat head, as I noted in the beginning there from the episode We're Rats from Channel 6. And what's really cool is the jaw is articulated so you can open it up. Now, I'm about to swap these parts out and we'll take a look at him. I did not completely swap him out yet, but I wanted to show you this before I got there. So you see how this is done. He has the peg down in the shirt. The head can move around on this peg. And then it also can clip down in on top of there. So that's pretty cool. So when you're changing out the arms, it is interesting to note that his forearms pop out. And that's what swaps over to being the We're Rat from Channel 6. Let me get that on there. Oh my goodness. It's kind of tough. The sleeves are kind of neat. They do swivel and you can see that there. So you got to kind of keep them from popping off, because they will pop off. Oh my goodness, I'm having a hard time here. I always have difficult time swapping parts. And there is Vernon as the We're Rat from Channel 6. Man, I love Vernon. Vernon was always a scaredy cat, you know? And honestly, going back and watching the cartoon again, he's one of my favorite characters. Really neat. Now let's switch over to the Rat King. And finally, here is the Rat King. Man, Townsend Coleman voiced the Rat King, and I think that's part of why he's so endearing. Townsend Coleman also was the voice of Michelangelo and the 90s cartoon Tick. I absolutely love the guy, and I think maybe for me, part of the reason why I love the Rat King so much, besides the way he looks, is that voice and just the way, you know, he was kind of like the tortured urchin of the sewer, hanging out with his rats because society rejected him. And I just, you know, I enjoy his little storyline. I really like the Rat King. He's one of my favorite turtle villains. And man, this figure is absolutely impressing the living shit out of me. I love the head sculpt. Straight out of the cartoon, man. This thing looks perfect. I love that he's got his nose covered because, you know, he's living in the sewers. Obviously, it smells terrible. And turning him around, the fact that you get two little sweatbands back here, or you get the two little knots, you get the two ties for the two wraps on his head. Man, that's just so, I don't know. There's just something really special about that. He has little wraps and stuff all over him. The little hanging, you know, where it's tied, and little bows and stuff that are on his legs. Just really nicely done. Just a super nice figure. I love it. The paint application is stellar. I only have one little blemish right there, and it's in the soft part, so I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let it slide either way because I really like the way he looks. I love the fact that just like Vernon, he's dark on the back, light in the front. Same thing going down his legs there, and man, just the level of detail in the paint job, the stitching, the paint application around the feet, and just everything. It just really, really, really nicely done. I mean, they are pin joints, but they don't look bad. I don't hate that at all. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't mind my toys looking like toys. Not at all. So let's just take a look at his articulation real quick. Head on a swivel. It's actually a two-part like dumbbell swivel in there. I'll just show you that really quick. It moves in the bottom of his head. See there? And it moves in the neck hole. So that's really cool. I've never really seen that before. I am starting to wear off a little bit of paint on his neck there, as you can maybe see that, but I don't really care. I'm always gonna be looking on the front. I do like the way he's hunched over though. Really cool. Definitely makes me feel Rat King. Gotta get the Rat King vibes. All right, shoulders 100%, 360 degrees there. Of course, he's got the biceps swivel. He has the 3-part elbow, which is really nice. He can reach right up there like that. I really like that about these modern figures. He's got his wrist, complete turns there, and hinged as well, and it's a really nice range of movement there. Let's see, flip that shoulder back around, get that turned back around there. He's got the crunch joint, as you can see. He does not twist at the waist, just barely. And it's because his rags that run around here are one piece. You can see there's a line here that's painted on, but it's actually one piece. So no swivel at the waist, but I don't really care about that. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It's just, I mean, you know, whatever. He does have hips on a ball joint there. You can see the ball joints get quite a bit of movement here, front and back, side to side. A lot of movement there. They're a little bit weak. There are no twists in the thigh. There's no, you know, thigh articulation, but you get that articulation at those balls. So that's okay with me. Got the nice 3-part knees there. Because he's got the little kneecap stuck in there. And you get a pretty good amount of range of motion out of these ankles, a little bit of side to side there, a lot of front and back. So you could pose him dynamically if you wanted to, you know, you can get him into little, you know, whatever kind of poses. Rat King, you know, should always be kind of hunched over and weird because he does live in the sewers with a bunch of rats, right? Not exactly a sane person. I've always wondered, what is his costume? I've speculated, is this sewn together rat fur? I mean, you can see the stitching all over. I know in the OG comics, he's like encrusted in moss. Maybe that's what his pants are supposed to be. But I don't know. There's really something about it. I always think about the Turtles in Time 2 fighting him in the sewers, and he's in that vehicle that he had that I don't even know what the hell the name of it is. I can't remember at this point. I just know that I absolutely love this guy. So let's look at his accessories. Ooh, like magic. His accessories have appeared, and does he have a lot? I mean, look at that. That's quite a pile of loot. If you're just looking at that alone, it's like, man, Rat King comes with a lot of stuff, and he kind of does, which is really neat. Now, first of all, I want to mention the flute. Okay, so early on in the Rat King's cartoon career, he really only controls rats with this flute because he's a lot like the Pied Piper, as I already mentioned. I do like how this flute is colored like he is with the dark and the light, you know, making it really look cartoony, and I think that's awesome. Now, you know, eventually Rat King no longer needs the flute and just controls rats with his mind. However, that is not how it started out. That right there is an awesome reminder. That is an awesome. He also comes with, as you can see here, 3 hands. He has a pointing finger, you know, for commanding rats where to go, what to do. And all the non-rodents, he also has to tell the non-rodents where to stick it, as Rat King's known for doing. He came with 2 gripping hands, like tighter grips. You know, these hands are kind of grips too, and I'll show you in just a minute. These are a little tighter. This one can actually hold that flute, sort of. And I don't really know what you would use this one for. Maybe holding a rat? I don't know. Speaking of rats, you know, if you remember the original figure from the 80s, or anytime you see the Rat King in the cartoon, he's always accompanied by now on the original loyal figure. They were kind of sculpted in to his details, to his costume and everything. But with this one, what we get are these rats with this hook-like tail, as you can see. 2 of them have a hook-like tail, and then one of them just kind of perches up there. And what you do is you just kind of like, you take this one, right? This one that's kind of like perched. You can pop him right there on his shoulder where he sits pretty well, honestly. Pretty rad, right? You see that? That looks good. Now, if I take one of these, basically what you can do with these is wrap them around his. Let's just take this one for instance. That tail wraps right around his shoulder, and he perches right there on his arm. And that looks really cool, man. I really like that. I think it's a really nice way to do that. It's a really nice way to work in the rats, you know, because I mean, he's the Rat King. Let's see what we can do with this one. We can probably get this one to do something similar. Just perch it right around this shoulder. And yeah, see that? Really cool. I like it a lot. You know, sometimes it seems as though Rat King can actually talk to the rats and hear what they're saying, which I always thought was kind of interesting. Like, what's he saying? What kind of conversations is he having with these rats? Really cool. Now, he also came with this can of mutagen. Well, you know what? I'm going to get to that in just a second. First, let's look at the soda pop bombs. I remember these specifically from an episode called Night of the Rogues, where the Shredder, having failed numerous times to defeat the Turtles, appeals to the Rogues Gallery, Rat King included, to help him beat them once and for all. And I remember Rat King, I just knocked him over. I remember Rat King throwing these soda pop bombs in the sewer, and I thought it was really cool. Now, these are really nicely detailed, as you can see. They look like actual soda cans. Really neat. And what you can do here, and pop his head off. Boom, there it is. Just look at that little dumbbell in there. And you can just throw this right over his shoulder there, and he's wearing it like a bandolier. It looks really nice, really cool. I like it. I think NECA does such a great job with these, man, and that just pops right on there and looks great, really. I mean, it's a nice accessory. What's really even cooler, this hand in particular, is set up. You pop one of these out. I knocked a rat off. Oh, I lost the rat. And right into his hand it goes, and he's ready to chuck these at the turtles. You know, he's kind of a smart guy, the Rat King, because he actually creates these explosive soda pop bombs, and, you know, they actually function as bombs. So, you know, he's got some kind of intelligence. Let's put that rat back on there. Looking good, looking good. Now, he also came with one more piece, which is this can of mutagen. Oh, about knocked him over again. Look at there. Stand up, Rat King. This can of mutagen, which is used in the episode We're Rats from Channel 6. If you'll remember, that is the same episode that has Vernon looking like a rat. So, what do you know? Of course, that is included. Now, what absolutely reveals the ruined mutagen that Rat King uses. So what happens is he hears Shredder telling Bebop and Rocksteady that somewhere in the sewers is a lost can of mutagen. And what it does, he's gonna create more soldiers with it. You know, more soldiers like Bebop and Rocksteady. And so the Rat King overhears that. He decides to find it himself, and then he mutates Vernon and Irma into rat people, which is really cool. So what this thing does, though, is it fits right into this hand. And I think that's really cool, man. I really like his gripping hands. They look really nice. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And that, I mean, it's just really nice. I love this action figure. I love this set. I think these NECA figures are really nice. I'm definitely interested in collecting more of them. Let's just bring Vernon back in here just a second. Let's see if I can get Rat King to stand up. Because what I want to do now, since I've kind of got them all together here, is I want to check out this scale. I'm going to bring in Krang, who's my other animated figure. And that way we can get a good look at the scale. You guys see that? Look at that. Perfect. NECA, you guys are knocking it out of the park. I hope they continue. I know that new stuff's coming out all the time, and I just, can't wait for more. Myself, I'm hoping to be able to collect more of it because it is kind of costly. But hey, that's what happens when you get into the game. That's what happens when you get into the game late, right? Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. Please hit like, hit subscribe for more awesome action figure action. Well, I just did that. I said action figure action. Whatever. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Peace out. Have a great week. See you soon.